Hello folks, how are you doing? It is still Tuesday, and I am still sitting here doing some stuff, doing some work, and reading a couple of articles for tomorrow's video, and came across something that I thought was rather interesting. Apparently it's also trending on Twitter somehow or another. ABC put out this today at about 6:30. Right now it's about 8:20 here in the Tampa. It says Uvalde police and school district are no longer cooperating with Texas probe of shooting, says their sources. Now, I already knew that Pedro, or Pete, nicknamed Pete, Arredondo, is still missing. He was gone before Colonel McGruff from the Department of Public Safety or Services, whatever it is, in Texas, gave his infamous mistakes were made speech, press conference. And he was out of the loop. He was gone, supposedly, right before that. I guess they knew that he would interpret what the guy was saying as to throwing him under the bus. And of course, unless somebody is really on board with that, and they can trust him in a public setting where there's cameras, they can't allow them to be loose and running around like a loose cannon on a fucking pirate ship. So they had to stow him away someplace. And from what I read, as I've mentioned before in a previous video, I saw that he was supposedly under guard. He was being protected by a couple members of a neighboring police department. I wondered if that neighboring police department might happen to be Bortek. Bortek had their fucking hands all over this. And I've told you, Bortek has it. Look up Bortek and look up their history. Remember early in this investigation on Wednesday, I believe, it started coming out that Bortek agent was actually there, was nearby. They've changed that, they've morphed that, and they've actually named the guy. They said he was getting a haircut, and he heard about this, and he rushed over to the school and got his daughter out. I wonder if that's because they see him leaving with his daughter, and he hadn't come with the other Bortek guys. The original story was that this Bortek guy had gotten there early and took out the shooter by himself. And then the story was he got there and waited, and a couple of Uvalde Police Department members, cops, went in with him and took out the guy early. And then it came out that they were waiting. It's very odd. Let me read you briefly this ABC News quip. According to ABC News, the Uvalde Police Department and Uvalde Independent School District Police Force are no longer cooperating with the Texas Department of Public Safety's investigation into the massacre at the Robb Elementary School and the state's review of the law enforcement response. Multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News. The Uvalde police chief and a spokesperson for the Uvalde Independent School District did not immediately respond to requests for comment from ABC News. According to sources, the decision to stop cooperating occurred soon after the director of DPS, Colonel Stephen McGraw, I call him Colonel McGruff, the crime dog, held a news conference Friday during which he'd said the delayed police entry into the classroom was the wrong decision and contrary to protocol. Reached by ABC News, a spokesperson for the Texas Department of Public Safety said the Uvalde Police Department and Uvalde CISD police have been cooperating with investigators. the chief of the Uvalde CISD police provided an initial interview, but has not responded to a request for a follow-up interview with the Texas Rangers that was made 2 days ago. Last Tuesday's attack, one of the worst school shootings in history, left 19 kids and 2 adults dead. So apparently they have kind of shut it down. And you can understand why. You can understand why. First of all, Pedro Arredondo is still missing. He's still missing. The mayor postponed swearing in, so he wouldn't, because he's not going to be there, and people would wonder why he's not going to be there. So the mayor, knowing full well where he really is, decided to postpone the swearing in for the city council, where he was supposed to be sworn in, because he won an election a couple weeks back. All right? But right now, apparently, he hasn't decided to fucking play ball. And if you look at the way this thing is running, what Colonel McGruff, what he did was toss Uvalde Police Department and the school police, specifically Arredondo, under the bus because of the 1 hour long wait. He also tossed under the bus a number of random fucking teachers, probably intending to blame the ones who were killed. This is their new timeline, the one they released on Friday. Exterior door where the shooter entered is propped open by a teacher. Suspect vehicle then crashes into a ditch near the school, and the teacher runs to 302 to retrieve a phone and runs back to the door. The door is left open. Why? Why? None of that makes any fucking sense. None of that makes any fucking sense. There's no reason for a teacher to be propping up the one fucking door that this person had access to. Here's the layout. This is, how many doors are there into these buildings? This complex. There's a lot of fucking doors. And the only one that was fucking unlocked, just and propped open, waiting for someone to come use it, was the one closest to where his truck was crashed, that he would obviously use. Remember when the reports were that there was a school district police officer on the premises, and he engaged the individual. And then he went down the fucking side and mistook one of the teachers out here for being the guy, and there was no fucking exchange of gunfire there because it was a teacher. But there was a whole fucking story about there was a guy here, and the door was propped open. And they waited over 50 minutes to make entry into that room. Again, you have to ask yourself, why? Why didn't they put snipers on the buildings, these roofs? I showed you where there were windows on this side. And that's where they were, right there. And there were windows. I showed you a picture of them right there. There are windows. Why didn't they ever use snipers? A lot of questions. A lot of questions. And a lot of people are pointing fingers this way and that way. And apparently, they've just decided, fuck it. I never could figure this one out. Here's the wreck. And here's a messed up gun. I don't understand. Obviously, that's not a fucking working gun. It looks and doesn't. That's not one of the ones that's pictured. That's like a fucking cheap ass prop M16 for like a movie. Is that one of these? It might be this one. It might be. Certainly the barrel looks longer. Well, maybe it is that one. Maybe that's what it is. This comes up and goes down there. I don't know. It could be foreshortening that makes it look shorter. And this comes up and goes down. It could be this one. That could be the one. After selling out the chief of police for the school district, after selling out the Uvalde Police Department, and after selling out the teachers, apparently they've had enough. And you can't blame them. I said before, and I'll say it again, I don't know much about policing, but I know this. We know that in the shooter drills, the active shooter drills, the command is always, certainly since Parkland, but even really since Columbine, the standard operating procedure was to confront the shooter no matter what. Now, of course, obviously, I'm not a police officer, so I don't know what their policies are in terms of walking into a school where they hear gunfire going off, or certainly a room where you know somebody's in there shooting. But from what they say, their training is in an active shooter situation, you go in and confront the fucking individual, and it doesn't matter where they are, because the lives of the public are at stake. Someone had to have given. I don't believe that the head of the school police department, which consists of 5 people, was going to be able to order all those people to wait. and the claim was, the last video I made, the claim was he actually ordered Bortak to stand down for an additional 35 minutes because they got there between 12 and 12:15, depending on which article you read. So I told them to stand down for 35 minutes. You know that didn't happen. There's no way. Bortak is the special operations group from the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security's Border Patrol. That man had no fucking authority over them, and they certainly wouldn't fucking listen to him even if he did tell them to stand down. So something is amiss, and the shit is falling apart because they want to blame him, they want to blame her, they want to blame him, and they've had enough of it. So we'll see how that works out, how that shakes out. Of course, they'll all eventually, like happen with. This is the same thing that happened really with the Vegas shooting at the music festival. The Vegas shooting at the music festival with Stephen Paddock. It became a fiasco. There was more confusion after the shooting than there was during the damn thing. They eventually just stopped doing press conferences altogether, and I don't think they've done a press conference really since Friday. I don't think they have in this case, so we'll see. I just thought I'd share that with you. Dude is still missing. The scapegoat is still missing, and in all likelihood, they will just find a way to toss it all on him, like they did fucking Bruce Ivins all those years ago. If you don't know who that is, feel free. Look him up. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, guys.